Tight end tiers.
Good afternoon, Bay Nation. Welcome back to another episode of Fantasy Bay. I'm your host, Mike Williams, and here's my co-host, Geoffrey.
Good afternoon, Bay Nation.
Today we're going to be talking about tight end tiers. So, if you've seen in my previous episodes, tier-based drafting is basically grouping players into specific groups and using that to help you draft, knowing that there's a separation between this group of players and this group of players. If you have any questions, you should definitely go check out the tips and tricks episode. It goes through that in detail. When I'm evaluating talent at tight end, I'm thinking, how good is their team? How often does that team throw to their tight end? How good is the quarterback? If they have a good team, they're going to be in the red zone more often. If they're in the red zone more often, the likelihood of that tight end scoring a touchdown goes up. That's what you're looking for. You want touchdowns at the tight end. You want touchdowns at all positions, but specifically at tight end. Tight ends are really boom or bust depending on the ones you get. Some tight ends have heavy receptions. Love those tight ends. Other tight ends are more touchdown dependent, and you're going to have to weed through to see which ones are going to be touchdown dependent and which ones are going to be more involved in the offense. But I'm here to help you out with that. All right. Geoffrey, you have anything to add?
Tight end is the most volatile position in fantasy football.
Good point. All right. I think we're ready to start Tier 1. Let's go.
Tier 1.
The champ is here. The champ is here. I think that Travis Kelce, NFL champion from last year, is the number one tight end this year. He's been number one the year before that. He was number one the year before that. And he was number one the year before that. He has had 4 straight number one finishes at the tight end position. He is absolutely fantastic. Lock it in, number one. He's on one of the most powerful offenses in the league. You saw him in the Super Bowl. You saw him throughout the year. He's a beast. He's huge, hard to bring down, faster than he looks. He is one of 2 tight ends I can understand taking in rounds 2 and later. And not early 2, I'm talking late 2 and later. Because he really is a difference maker. Him and George Kittle, they are complete difference makers at the position. If you want to take him, I completely understand. I won't be doing it, but I won't look at you sideways for taking a positional advantage at a spot where a lot of people are going to get dominated by you. So, good luck. All right, on to the next one. Next, we have George Kittle, who is an absolute beast. I forgot to mention this. Travis Kelce got paid. So did Kittle. Money, 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 money. Money. Ballin'. That's how you take care of one of your best offensive weapons. And that just shows me they're going to use him again this year, just like they used him last year. He's one of the top receiving tight ends in the league. He's an absolute beast. He's big and he is fast. He's surprisingly fast for a man that large. He's so hard to bring down. People are jumping on him. He just carries him on his back like he's working out. My man is a beast. Again, one of the top 2 tight ends where I understand you taking him in round 2 or later. He is an absolute monster. If you draft him, you won't be disappointed. But if you do draft a tight end that early, don't forget, running backs run out early, so you may want to load up on those too. All right. I think that's the end of Tier 1. On to the next one.
Tier 2.
Mark Andrews had an absolutely fantastic year last year. He was dinged up a little bit, but for the most part, he was a beast. Lamar Jackson's favorite person to throw it to. I think that he's going to come back this year and have another great year. They got rid of Hayden Hurst. He has the tight end area all to himself. I think that he is going to be an absolute beast this year. He is below that top tier Travis Kelce and George Kittle because I don't think that he'll have that much volume. Like, they get like 100 plus targets a year. I don't know if Mark Andrews is going to get that high, but he is amazing in the red zone, gets a lot of touchdowns, so I think that he is a difference maker at that position. And he is starting off my tier 2. Do you have anything, Geoffrey?
He had the 2nd most touchdowns in the league in 2019.
On to the next one. Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz is a very talented, underrated tight end, and he's on a team that stays injured. Constantly getting injured. He has Alshon Jeffrey always injured. Deshaun Jackson, who is healthy right now, but constantly getting injured. Jalen Reagor is currently injured. Unfortunately, Carson Wentz is a little dinged up, but I think that should be cleared up by the beginning of the season. And then he has 2 offensive linemen that are out for the year. Unfortunate. But that being said, all those injuries lead to more targets for him, and I definitely think they utilize him. He's Carson Wentz's best friend, and I think that he's going to get a lot of work this year. So, my tight end 4. On to the next one. All right, next we have Darren Waller. Darren Waller was an absolute beast last year. He was a target monster. He's bigger than you think he is, and he's strong and fast. I really like Darren Waller. He's extremely talented. They did draft some wide receivers, but I don't think that that's going to take away from him too much. He only had a couple touchdowns last year, and for somebody that's that good and that big, I couldn't imagine them not targeting him more this year than they did last year in the red zone. So I think that he's actually going to get better from the touchdown aspect, even if his targets do go down a little bit. All right, on to the next one. New York Giants. Evan Engram is a fantastic value this year. I've actually gotten him in 2 leagues. I don't know how he's lasting to the 8th round, but that's fantastic value for a tight end that can lead his team in targets. He is faster than he looks, and he's big and strong. He runs like a 4.4 40. He's a beast. Men that big should not be that fast. And they like to target him when he's on the field. So I think he's going to be one of Daniel Jones's best friends. And I like him a lot this year. Going in the 8th round. That's a steal for a tight end this good. One thing that you will have to watch out for. He's injury prone. He gets injured a lot. And when he's on the field, he's great. So the approach that I've been taking, I have an IR spot in most of my leagues. He's going to get injured. Push him to the IR spot, pick up somebody off of waivers, probably get a Jonnu Smith or something like that. He'll hold you back. He'll hold you until Evan Engram comes back for the playoffs, and then you'll be ready to dominate your playoffs. But be mindful. If you're a type of player that avoids injuries, you might want to stay away from Evan Engram. I sometimes like to roll the dice when it's in the 8th round. It's baked in. If he wasn't injury prone, he'd be a top 5 rounder. I am about it. Watch out for Evan Engram. I'm a fan. All right. On to the next tier.
Tier 3. Rapid round.
All right. It's tier 3. You ready for rapid round? Let's go. All right. Rob Gronkowski. He was out of the league. Tom Brady said, "Come on back, baby. Let's go to Tampa and win a championship." I love Rob Gronkowski. I think he was one of the most dominant big men of all time. And on top of that, he had a year off to get healthy. He slimmed down. He's bulking up now. I don't think that he's going to be as heavily targeted as he used to be, but I do believe that he's still a red zone monster, and him and Tom Brady have that connection. It's going to be fantastic. Love Rob Gronkowski this year. He's got a lot of good upside. Jared Cook. Jared Cook is a benefactor of Drew Brees being a beast. He's going to throw it downfield. Jared Cook can make the big play. He also can score some touchdowns. I think that there are a solid amount of mouths to feed in the Saints, but Drew Brees is going to be trying to score every touchdown possible. On to the next one. Tyler Higbee. He had an outrageous end of the season last year. He was an absolute beast. He was one of the best fantasy players, not even for his position, just in general. One of the best fantasy players towards the end of the year last year. He was absolutely on fire. He was a beast. Now, do you believe that that's going to happen? They played a lot of 2 tight end sets. Took Cooper Kupp a little off the field. Are they going to do that again? They were successful with it. So I think that he is going to be a lead tight end, but I think people are drafting him a little high for my liking. I think that, yes, he was drafted by Sean McVay, but I did like Gerald Everett. So watch out for that. All right, next. Hunter Henry. Very solid tight end if he can stay healthy. I like him a lot. That being said, quarterbacks have changed in Los Angeles Chargers, and I'm not sure he's going to get the ball as much as he's used to, but he is very talented. Mike Gesicki showed out a little bit last year. I definitely think he has some upside. I like him as a prospect, and if you take a flyer on him, I think he can actually return some value. You're getting him pretty late. Hayden Hurst. He's filling in for Austin Hooper. Austin Hooper was a fantastic beast last year, one of the best tight ends. He got a bunch of targets. I don't think that Hayden Hurst is going to get as many targets as Austin Hooper got, but I do think that he is very talented and deserves a roster spot. So I can understand you drafted him. All right, on to the next one.
Tier 4 Rapid Round.
All right, Tier 4. Let's start it off. Noah Fant. Noah Fant is a great prospect. He had a couple bust-out plays. He's very fast. He's big. And he looks like he's going to get some more targets this year. I actually really like him having a breakout year this year. Next. Blake Jarwin. I like Blake Jarwin because Blake Jarwin is on a very powerful offense. He's very talented. And that's a great combination for tight end success. I think he can get a couple touchdowns and break off a couple long plays. He also had a game last year where he had multiple touchdowns. I love seeing tight ends that can get a bunch of touchdowns because they're not all going to get a bunch of yards, but you can definitely get some touchdowns. Jonnu Smith is a freak of nature. He is a beast of a man, and I think that his athletic ability is going to set him apart from some of the other tight ends, and I picked him up as a late-round flyer in one of my leagues. Chris Herndon is actually solid if he's on the field. He has some injury concerns, but when he's on the field, I don't think they have very many other people to throw the ball to. I do like Jamison Crowder and Perriman, but Perriman doesn't seem like he can stay on the field. We will see. I think that Chris Herndon may be worth a late-round flyer because he's pretty solid. And last but not least, Jack Doyle. I think that Jack Doyle is going to be one of Phillip Rivers' best friends now that he's there. Phillip Rivers likes his tight end. He's going to go to him. That's just Phillip Rivers' MO. He's going to dump it down to the running back and he's going to throw it to his tight end. That's kind of just what he does. So I think Jack Doyle can have a role in this offense. Others receiving votes. I think Dallas Goedert has a chance to have a good year again because the Eagles are always injured. And I definitely think that they'll utilize him. He's very talented. He gets utilized in the red zone. I like Dallas Goedert. All right, so that's going to do it for the tight end episode. And let me know what you thought. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment down below. Who did I get too low? Who was too high? All right, Geoffrey, you got anything?
When selecting a tight end late, go for upside.
All right, good luck in your draft. Peace.